Dear listeners, like every day, we bring to you a new and interesting story that leaves you inspired and mesmerized. Improve your English listening skills and learn new words with every story. Before Google became a verb. Before it answered billions of questions every day. Before it shaped how humanity thinks, learns, and connects. It was just an idea. An idea born not in a boardroom, but in a college dorm room. This is the story of Google. In 1995, at Stanford University, two very different personalities crossed paths. One was Larry Page. Quiet, deeply analytical, endlessly curious. The other was Sergey Brin. Energetic, outspoken, and brilliantly mathematical. At first, they didn't like each other. They argued. They challenged each other. They questioned everything. But sometimes, the greatest partnerships don't begin with agreement. They begin with tension. Larry Page was obsessed with one question. How do we understand the structure of the internet? At the time, search engines already existed. But they were terrible. They ranked web pages by how many times a keyword appeared, not by how useful or trustworthy the page actually was. Larry believed this was wrong. He saw the internet like an academic world, where a paper's importance is judged by who cites it. So he asked, what if web pages were ranked by how many other pages linked to them? And how important those pages were? This idea became the foundation of something revolutionary. Together, Larry and Sergey created an algorithm. They called it PageRank. It didn't just count words. It understood relationships. It asked better questions. And suddenly, search results made sense. But here's the part most people don't know. They didn't want to start a company. They wanted to sell the idea. Larry and Sergey approached existing search companies. They tried to license their technology. They were rejected. Again. And again. And again. One company even said, this will never scale. So two graduate students, with no money, no business experience, and no clear plan, decided to build it themselves. In 1998, Google officially began. Not in a fancy office, but in a garage, rented from a friend. Their first server was built from cheap parts. Their desks were made from doors placed on sawhorses. They weren't trying to look impressive. They were trying to make something that worked. Google didn't look like a startup should. There were no suits. No strict rules. No hierarchy. Just ideas. Arguments. Whiteboards filled with questions. Their philosophy was simple. Focus on the user, and everything else will follow. Early on, Google faced pressure to change. Investors wanted ads everywhere. Pop-ups. Clutter. But Larry and Sergey refused. They believed that search results should be clean, fast, and honest. This belief led to one of their most famous principles. Don't be evil. Not as marketing. As a compass. Google grew because people trusted it. It didn't shout. It didn't distract. It just answered questions. But growth came with problems. Servers crashed. Costs exploded. Competition increased. Yahoo! Microsoft. Others with far more money. Google could have panicked. Instead, they doubled down on innovation. They created a culture where employees were encouraged to experiment. Engineers were allowed to spend 20% of their time working on ideas they personally believed in. That freedom led to products like Gmail, Google Maps, Google News. Not because management demanded them, but because curiosity was allowed to breathe. Google didn't avoid failure. It embraced it. For every success, there were dozens of forgotten experiments. But failure wasn't punished. It was studied. As Google expanded, it went public. Money poured in. But Larry and Sergey did something unusual. They warned investors. We are not a conventional company. And we do not intend to become one. They refused to sacrifice the long term for short-term profits. Google went on to reshape the world. It organized the world's information, put knowledge in everyone's pocket, changed how we navigate cities, how we communicate, how we learn. But at its core, Google never stopped being a company built on questions. And here's the most important lesson. Google didn't win because it was louder. It won because it was better. It didn't chase attention. It chased understanding. Larry Page once said, "If you're changing the world, you're working on important things. You're excited to get up in the morning." Google was never about search. It was about curiosity at scale. So if you're sitting with an idea that others don't understand, that doesn't fit the current system, remember this: Google was rejected, doubted, dismissed. And yet, 2 students in a dorm room changed how humanity finds answers. Because they didn't ask, "Will this make money?" They asked, "How can we make this better?" Thank you.